And then there were 16. Regionals wraps up. 16 teams move on. There was drama, come from behind wins, shocking upsets, massive controversies, ejections, and just an overall fun and exciting time as the 16 teams win it, move on, and it's time to talk about those teams and the matchups that we're going to see in Super Regionals. And it starts on Friday, June 6th, and I'm going to preview all of the matchups that we're going to see this weekend. In my last update video, I mentioned a few teams that were advancing, including Louisville. They're going to be taking on the Miami Hurricanes in the Super Regional. Miami had a great regional, took out Alabama. They blew out Columbia 14-1, lost Sunday to Southern Miss, but then defeated them in the rematch 5-4 behind some nice pitching from Reese Lumpkin and Will Smith. Louisville is set to host the Super Regional. The Cardinals swept the Nashville Regional, and now will get to host baseball games in their own stadium. Best of 3 Super Regional. For Louisville, big bats include Lucas Moore, who hit .364 this season, and Eddie King Jr., who smashed 15 bombs with a .348 average, OPS over 1100. Zion Rose, Jake Monroe can also rake, and their lineup is super intimidating and powerful. And they also have a great rotation. Ethan Eberle threw 6+ scoreless in the final regional game. And then there's Wyatt Danilowicz out of the pen, but their pitching doesn't run quite as deep as their offense. Miami's biggest bat has to be the MVP, Daniel Cuvée, .379 average this season with 17 home runs. Jake Ogden also, and they got some solid arms who've been really stepping it up this postseason. But Louisville should be the favorites in this one, and I think the talent runs a bit too deep on both sides of the ball for them to lose, but you never know. I'm going to take Louisville to move on to Omaha. Then over in Tallahassee, Florida State sweeps the regional that they hosted, defeating the powerful Mississippi State not once but twice. Once behind Jamie Arnold, who struck out 13 in 7 innings in that game, and then another behind Wes Mendez, who threw 8 innings, allowing just 2 runs on 5 hits. The Seminoles had plenty of solid bullpen arms as well, and a red-hot bat in Miles Bailey. He's crushing a home run pretty much every single game. He's absolutely on fire, and he's well protected in the lineup by guys like Max Williams and Cal Fisher. Florida State will be tough to say the least, and they'll be on the road for Super Regionals heading to Oregon State. They battled hard to win their regional after losing the opener to St. Mary's. They bounced back, beat TCU, destroyed St. Mary's in the rematch 20-3, took out USC twice, and somehow escaped Corvallis with the victory. Their roster is every bit as stacked. Obviously, Arquette, Turley, Wilson Weber, Trent Caraway providing insane offense. And they have one of the better rotations in D1 baseball as well, with Ethan Kleidschmidt and Dax Whitney at the top. This one's going to be one to watch. I'm going to lean Florida State here. They are so hot as a team. I'm not sure that even the great pitching of Oregon State can hold them down. So I don't expect a sweep, but I do think Florida State moves on in this one. And another team that is scorching hot is the Arizona Wildcats. They had no issues in regionals, beat their opponents by a total of 31-6 in 3 games. Their lineup is relentless. Brendan Summerhill at the top. Plenty more threats, like they got the power hitting Mason White. And they have some impressive arms as well. They're going to be one of the more balanced teams in this Super Regional, and they're going on the road, though. They're going to face the Tar Heels in North Carolina, in Chapel Hill, and these two teams have not faced off since 1990, before these players were even born. And the biggest challenge for Arizona is going to be one man, Jake Knapp. He had a breakthrough season. He catapulted his name into the MLB draft talk. And even though he's not ranked too high on most draft boards, I don't know why. I think this guy should be a first, second round pick. He can pump it at 96 miles per hour with spin. He's got a deadly 80s cutter. He went 13-0 this season with a 1.98 ERA. He'll have the ball on Friday. And in his regional start, he threw 8 1/3 scoreless innings. The Tar Heels also have a good lineup. You got guys like Luke Stevenson, their catcher. But right now I'm leaning Arizona. I think this one's going to be tight, but I'm taking the Wildcats to move on. I don't know if they can beat Knapp, but I'll say they win it in 3. Coastal Carolina, the 2016 champs, they won their regional. They're going to be hitting the road to go to number 4 Auburn. Coastal Carolina won 3 straight in the regionals. They pounded Fairfield 10-2 behind 7 strong innings from Cameron Flukie and finished it off against East Carolina 1-0. Combined shutout, Riley Eichhoff and Dominique Carbone. This is a team that dominates on the bump. Jacob Morrison is another great starter. He went 11-0, 2.19 ERA, and they have an array of great relievers. Lineup isn't quite as intimidating, but they do have some solid bats, and they'll put runs on the board, obviously. The question will be, can Auburn score enough runs against those great arms with their guys like Ike Irish and Chris Rembert, the rest of that lineup, which is on fire? I think that they can. I think that they will score runs. I think that the Auburn team has looked amazing. They have the pitching themselves. Andreas Alvarez, Samuel Dutton, Carson Myers. I think that they will have just enough to edge this one out. I don't think it's going to be easy, but I'm taking Auburn to move on. And then we have games that start on Saturday. UTSA at UCLA. This one's going to be interesting. Both teams similar records. 47-13 for UTSA, 45-16 for the UCLA Bruins. UCLA should be heavy favorites. I predicted UTSA to move on and upset Texas. I don't know if anyone else did. That's exactly what happened. This is a scrappy team. They just find ways to win. They pile up singles, hit with runners in scoring position, steal bases. They just relentlessly attack pitchers with consistent contact and a low strikeout rate. And their pitching, not quite as impressive, but it's still good. They got guys, Gunnar Brown, Zach Royce, Robert Orlowski. UCLA have a little more power. They're probably a little more balanced. They got, obviously, Cholowski. That guy's an absolute beast. He's going to be a high pick in 2026. I'm on the UTSA train. I got on the train for regionals. We flew through, and I'm sticking on it. I ain't getting off the train. I got to take the Roadrunners to keep it moving and go to Omaha. But what about Murray State? They made it. They are the Cinderella team of this Super Regional. They will be at Duke. Another matchup nobody predicted, and myself included in this one. I thought Georgia would take it in Athens. It was Duke. And Murray State's going to try to book their first ever trip to the College World Series to Omaha with that powerful offense. But Duke, who've been in Super Regionals 4 times in the last 7 years, will be missing AJ Gracia from the first game due to that prop that he was holding when he accidentally stepped onto the field to congratulate another player. And I just think it's crazy that not only does he get ejected from that game, but the rule is he's also suspended for the next game. So that's going to hurt. They also have an injury from Ben Miller. Ben Miller got hit in the hand, and he could miss some time. So he may be out. But still, they got Sam Harris. They got Wallace Clark. They got a lineup. They got a pitching staff that looked fantastic in Athens. They limited their opponents to about 3 runs per game. But Murray State, the Racers, they defeated Ole Miss twice. They took out Georgia Tech. Their offense is rolling, but their pitching allows a ton of runs. They allowed about 11 runs per game on average. So the offense has to keep rolling and roll big against Duke because the pitching is going to allow runs. And I'm rooting for Murray State, but for them to knock off another big team in 2 out of 3 when their pitching is allowing so many runs, it's pretty unlikely. They did it against Ole Miss, but the odds are stacked against them. I hope I'm wrong. I got to go with Duke. But be careful, Duke, because Murray State is no joke. But I got Duke going on to Omaha. West Virginia will be at Louisiana State, and I love West Virginia this year. I had them moving on to Supers, and here they are, taking on number 6 LSU in Baton Rouge. West Virginia is an exciting team. They love to run, steal bases, create chaos on offense. They got Sam White, an amazing table setter. Not a ton of home run power. Kyle West has some pop, but they really rely on base hits, walks, and speed, and they are damn good at it. So LSU's got to be careful. Griffin Kern is amazing. He started Friday's regional through 7+, then he closed out the finale with a scoreless inning. And they got other weapons out of the pen as well. But LSU is just an elite team top to bottom. 2023 champs, Jared Jones, Ethan Fry, Daniel Dickinson, guys who can rake, big power, and pitchers. Anthony Ianson, he did the same thing. He threw 7+ scoreless and then came in and closed out the finale like Kern. So this is a team that's absolutely stacked. West Virginia's rolling. This one's going to be tight. I was going to pick West Virginia. I really wanted to, but LSU is so stacked, and I think they'll find a way to win 2 out of 3. I decided, I got to be honest here, I think the Tigers are moving on. It's going to be close, but I got the powerhouse, LSU, moving on. Tennessee at Arkansas. Tennessee's the defending champs. Liam Doyle is an absolute ace. They got bats, Curley, Andrew Fisher. He hit like 24 homers this year, hit over 340. An impressive squad. Taking on Arkansas. who had no issues at regionals. They blew out North Dakota State. They took out Creighton twice. Bahia Aloy is one of the best college hitters on the planet, and they got 6 guys in that lineup who hit at least 329 in 2025. They are absolutely loaded. This is going to be super competitive in super regionals. It's probably the most talent between both teams of any of the matchups, but both have a shot to go all the way if they get through this. I think Tennessee maybe has a slight edge on pitching because of Doyle. Arkansas is stacked. They got the home field advantage. They can dominate a team, and I think they have enough to squeak by. I think this one goes 3 games. It's going to be tight. I'll take the Arkansas Razorbacks to move on. And there is your Super Regionals quick preview. Which 8 do you think are going to Omaha, and who do you like to go all the way? Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. So I got Arkansas moving on, LSU moving on, Duke moving on, the Roadrunners, UTSA moving on, Auburn moving on as well, and Arizona taking it in their Super Regional, and finally Florida State. So those are the 8 teams that I got, and that's your regional or Super Regionals preview. Let me know what you guys think. If you enjoy college baseball, hit that subscribe and thumbs up. And we're going to be doing more college ball live play-by-play, and I also do prospect videos from some of the best players in the country in high school, college, and even the minor leagues. Y'all have a wonderful day. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and we'll talk to you in the next one.